Welcome to Shrouded Realities. We got a new co-host today, the Beardless.
Oh, I didn't know where we were going with that.
Ghost Man on third.
I like to throw y'all curveballs right off the bat.
Yeah,
Just
no,
like, I don't tell you where I'm coming.
I was like, who's in here that I don't know about?
Hello.
The Beardless Steven. Welcome to Shrouded Realities. Don't adjust your cameras. It's still him.
Still just as pacey as I was before.
Not the genetically modified version.
Just a little less red in
Just
there.
a little less red in the face.
Less red, more white. Where's the blue, baby?
America.
America. I tell you.
Today we got a tough one. And actually, the next few episodes are going to be tough ones. So this is not going to be for the faint of heart.
This is a.
You might get mad. You might get pissed at us.
You could.
You might stop listening altogether.
I've had family members who've talked to me about it. My dad, who's been on the show, he was like, "Man, I just don't want to believe it." Yeah. I'm like, "I know, and I don't either."
I'm the same.
And I don't know where I'm 100% at. I mean, this is kind of one of those that I'm back and forth every time I watch something.
I feel like the further we get away from the date it happened, the harder it is to understand or have an opinion about it. It's kind of like the Titanic.
Yeah, I had that same thought, and then I was watching some documentary type stuff this morning, prepping for the show, and man, the conspiracy stuff hit like that.
Yeah.
The movie Loose Change was put out.
Have you watched it yet?
Not completely. I remember
either.
seeing bits and pieces of it like previous years. But yeah, that kind of stuff hit from the beginning, kind of like it did with JFK. One of the things I heard was that this kind of overstepped JFK as far as the big conspiracies.
Yeah,
right.
You know, from the 60s to the 90s and early 2000s, it was JFK was the big conspiracy theory. Government's out to get us, and then this one
That's where the word conspiracy theory came from.
Was JFK.
JFK.
Yep.
Thanks, CIA.
That's right.
They brought that to us.
Yep. And then 9/11, 2001 happened, and then here we are, and we're 26 years after, and we're still questioning it.
Part of that is everybody was able to watch this as it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were alive at that point, you didn't watch anything else. There was nothing else. I mean, you couldn't even turn on Nickelodeon and watch anything different. It was wall to wall.
You couldn't get a Melatonin commercial without seeing a plane going to a building.
I mean, it was there weren't commercials.
I do remember, so I was alive. I was in college at the time. I do remember the shockingly fast production of commercials.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not propaganda commercials, but like, you know, at Pfizer, we support the troops. You know, stuff like that
kind of thing
came out surprisingly quick.
Everything was super patriotic.
There's a compilation on YouTube where it has the before and after, and oh my gosh, it's so depressing.
Really?
It's so bad.
Like before and after, like
9/11
commercials or culture?
Yeah, not commercials. Like it'll take the same brand and then do it before and after. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You would think the world's coming to an end.
And then everybody thought it did.
To be honest with you, I was in fourth grade, and I thought the world was coming to an end. Yeah. I didn't know anything about Al-Qaeda at that point. I didn't know what that meant. But, I mean, I remember I watched the second plane hit, and there was an understanding that that's bad, so at least in fourth grade.
Were you in class?
I was. So
like they put it on the TV for the students to watch.
It wasn't that they were putting it on. I think it was more for the teachers. Yeah. So we had library class at that point.
Okay.
So we had like different segments of our day, of course, that you would have your normal math in the morning or whatever, but then we had library that morning. And I remember we walked in a single file line to the library room, and the librarian came out and said, "Hey guys, this is what's happened." The first plane had already hit, but nobody knew what that meant. Everybody thought that was an accident that had happened, which is crazy to think about, that, you know, a 747 could accidentally run into the world's largest building.
Well, the initial reports or thoughts were a small plane.
Yeah.
Because you didn't really have a context of size.
Well, nobody had video at that point, really. I mean, it wasn't, because nobody was paying attention to the World Trade Center that morning, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
I think there's one single video, and it was a documentary crew that was working with a fire department.
They weren't live streaming it.
No, it wasn't released until much later.
The Today Show was not showing it at that point.
That's right.
But so we went into library class, and she had it on, not knowing that there was going to be a second plane coming, of course. But I remember they had those big projector TVs. It was huge inside of this library, and I was in 4th grade, so I was a wee little man.
Wee little lad.
And I was watching it. Other kids were reading that whole deal. But I was watching it, and I remember the video of it just kablow right into that second
Here's
tower.
a core memory.
Oh, dude, it's locked in.
100%.
It's not going away.
Yeah.
I mean, that is one of those memories that will live with me forever.
Yeah.
And there, even in 4th grade, there was kind of like a pit in my stomach of what was that.
Yep.
And kind of having some understanding of that shouldn't happen twice.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know that it meant that we were under attack necessarily, but I did know that maybe 2 times is too much.
Yeah, dude,
like
the first time's
the
forgivable.
first time's like, oh man, wow, that dude really got off course. The second one you go,
He was on course.
ooh, okay, there's a problem here.
That was on purpose.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
terrible.
Where was you at, Connor?
I was in my diaper, man.
He's a baby.
That was a BB.
He's a wee little baby.
Yeah. So it wasn't much later till like, I was really exposed to it through YouTube. So like 2006, 2007, just being a wee little lad, just, there wasn't many videos on. It was like either like a Nirvana song or 9/11. That's like your 2 choices on YouTube at that point.
You
cat
could watch
videos.
Smells Like Teen Spirit or Numa Numa.
Yep.
That was it.
Yep.
That's all you had.
Or cat videos.
Cat videos.
Yep. And 9/11.
Yeah, you could see the devil in the smoke.
Yeah, it would be like a 10-minute video of like all the shapes and faces in the smoke, and they would draw it out, and I'm like 7 years old, like I'm freaked right now.
I remember
I'm
those.
freaked.
You could watch Toby Keith.
Yeah,
Could hear Toby Keith in the back.
American boys. But and then that kind of segued into like getting into the Illuminati thing, and that freaked me out even more. So I'm like 9 years old, connecting these dots I should not be connecting. You know?
Your initial exposure to 9/11 was conspiracy
Yeah,
from the beginning.
from the jump. No pun intended. But
Son. So
That's so different than my experience.
Yeah.
My experience was fully believing what the government told me happened.
yeah. So,
Because what else am I going to know?
yeah. So I was in college, so it's a super core memory for me. Not only the event, but after.
yeah,
And it was I was sitting in college, sitting in class, and we had these 2 characters of guys. You ever get people in your life that are just like cartoon characters,
Oh, yeah.
and
I know a
they
few.
like wisp into your life for a little bit, and then they disappear and do
Yeah.
nothing. Like you never see them again. Well, that was these 2 kids. They were just character of people, always late to class. It was just kind of a joke.
probably
that they were always
billionaires
late.
now.
Maybe. But they were just so goofy. But I remember we sitting in class talking about the subject of the day. These 2 kids come storming through the door, just like, boof, like, boom, we're here. And they're like, God, we was listening on the radio. A plane hit the World Trade Center. We're like, calm down for one. Like,
Chill out.
They put a couple dudes in there. Dude, there's a plane.
oh, 100%, because they were doodlers.
This is
for sure.
They were
straight up.
doodlers?
They were
What's a doodler?
The guys are just, dude,
Dude,
there's
a second plane.
they're crazy.
Better than diddlers, all right?
Yeah,
Dude,
They're
that is
doodlers.
true. Yeah. Never mind. Could have went
Let's
there.
leave it.
that's another episode.
Mom's listening again.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah. So they come in. They said they said that so we turned on TV, of course, and I think it was like Today Show or one of those morning shows, and put it on. And of course, they were live streaming it and talking about it, reporting on what happened, and all the reports were just really like nobody had real good information.
Yeah,
And then the second one hit. And
Yeah.
that was when
it turned real.
Yeah, that's when it turned real. It's like you said, that's when it just everybody clicked. It's like, oh crap.
Yeah. No, you knew at that point.
You
that
start
it-
calling people.
Yeah. You start calling your mom and check on her. So I was, first, second year in college, so I was just learning how to be out on my own in the world, away from my family.
And this goes down,
then
and you're like,
goes
"This was a
down.
mistake."
Yes, I'm like, oh, I need to get home to mommy.
Mama.
But yeah, so the whole thing played out. Everybody knows the story about how the rest of it played out. Well, we'll go into details of it. Particularly next week, we're gonna dig into the conspiracies hard on this because it's conspiracy riddled.
It is.
But-
And it has effects even like this week as we're recording this. We still have
Yeah.
effects of that from 2001 to this week of got to have your real ID this week.
Yeah.
I mean, even we're 25 years out, 24 years out at this point, and we're still losing a little bit of something,
A little bit of freedom every day.
and could possibly be reasons why certain people would want to do things. We'll just say.
Okay.
I mean, I say it a lot. Benjamin Franklin,
Yeah, it comes up a lot. Giving up that freedom
for a little bit of safety. You don't deserve either one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liberty for safety, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so.
And last week we talked about Operation Northwood.
Yeah,
which
that's what led to this. Like
led into this conversation for us.
I do want to say we wasn't even. We've talked about doing this show, and
We have.
from the show's inception, it had been.
It was a hard
kind of
no.
Yeah, this was kind of on like the tip of our tongues. Like, we got to do a 9/11 show. It's a conspiracy show. We got to do a 9/11 show.
I mean, because it's the expected show. It's kind of like JFK. Everybody expects a 9/11 one.
Yeah.
But even with the expectation, every time I'd bring it up to anybody around us, I'd be like, "Hey, we're thinking about doing an 9/11 show. Ooh, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
Ooh, don't do it." And I get it.
Is it because it
I think
it has that emotional pull on everybody?
Yes.
You think? Even
it's
me
something
in the fourth grade. You know what I mean?
It's something everybody experienced together.
Live. I mean, on television, you knew.
It's not like you read it in a newspaper.
And it was an all-day event. It wasn't like a.
Well, it
that,
it turned from an all day to like a 20
years.
event.
Well, but I mean, the attacks were an all-day event, and weeks after, I mean, they were talking about anthrax, and it was just a nonstop
terror
beratement of terror.
Yeah.
And everybody knows. I say everybody. Most people know somebody that knows somebody that like there's like a 2 or 3 degree separation from somebody passing away in this event. I've met people that had friends die. Like,
almost, and we're gonna go there because I have to. I know more people that knew people that died of this than COVID.
Whoa! Didn't even
Just
think
saying.
about that.
Just saying.
I wasn't expecting COVID today.
I wasn't either, but I thought about it as we're talking. I mean, I know more people that know people in this situation than the other one, and
true.
millions. Almost the entire world was eradicated.
They all
from
died.
COVID. Except I don't know anybody that knew somebody else.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I can't have an episode where I don't go there.
COVID rabbit hole.
Yeah, I can fall down that with any
That's a
topic.
big hole right there.
It is a big hole. It's a big Fauci-shaped hole.
He's a small man.
He's a small man.
Small man.
In more than stature.
Yeah. You got small man syndrome. That's
Can't
a real
put
thing.
him in jail though.
No, you can't.
He's been pre-pardoned.
Because there's no way that you could find anything wrong that he ever did in his entire life.
Except for throwing that baseball out to left field. That was illegal. That was a crime.
That was awful.
Put him against the wall.
That there was a little bit of justice in that for me.
Yeah.
Just watching that man throw a baseball, I was like, what a sad human.
It's like, did you even practice?
He may have shut down the world, but can you throw a baseball?
I have a 1-year-old.
I throw a baseball.
That's like the most American thing you can do is throw a baseball.
Yeah, like my kid can throw a better pitch than he can.
Mine can too.
He's one. Anyway,
back to the topic. Yeah, so you got the Twin Towers attack, which of course that was the main event.
it was, but there
like
were
a UFC event.
I mean, there was a lot more that was
Yeah.
going on.
I didn't even as a kid. I didn't even know there was more than 2.
Yeah, there was 4 in total of
No,
crashes.
Oh, yeah, 4 crashes. Yeah. So you didn't even know about Flight 93 or the Pentagon.
No, it took years before I figured out like that. Those were
That's crazy
also
to me.
involved.
That is
Yeah,
wild.
that's crazy to me because, granted, we were both
I don't
conscious
remember.
at that point.
I don't remember on that day when they said
I
the
don't
Pentagon was attacked and
I don't
93
think it
happened
affected me as much
because it wasn't on video.
because
I guess.
it was like on some weird security camera video that they had, which is even
And
stranger.
that wasn't released until much later.
Yeah, it was
It's like
way
2
later.
frames.
Yeah.
It's 2 frames of like plane, no plane.
Yeah.
Is how that worked. That one to me is one of the stranger ones. How do you get at that level? Have you ever seen the Pentagon in person? Like, have you ever been around it?
It's huge.
It's big. It's not very tall though. How do you get in a plane at that height
Yeah.
and hit something square in the front?
Yeah.
That's really strange.
And I'm just sprinkling conspiracy theory seeds here.
Yeah.
But it just happened to hit the financial district of the Pentagon.
Well, and the day before that, Donald Rumsfeld come out. He's like, "Hey guys, there's like 2.3 trillion that we can't account for. We don't know what happened. We have no idea."
And then a plane hits that office.
And then a plane literally hit that one spot.
It's like a Pink Panther movie.
Like it's a large, it's a very large building as far as its footprint on where it's at. But as far as like height, it's not. I mean, it's what 3, 4, 5 stories, something like that. So, I mean, it's tall.
It's big, but yeah, not huge.
It's tall compared to me.
She said.
But compared to a 747, yeah. Compared to a 747 airplane, nah, it's not massive. Yeah. And the level that this plane would have to be flying, like there's no angle. It was like, if you watch the video, it looks like here's the Pentagon, and it goes bang.
Yeah, super flat.
It makes no sense to me. That's one of those that, and you have you've seen it, but it goes bop, bop.
Yeah.
That's the 2 shots you got.
Yeah.
That one's weird.
One camera.
We'll show that video.
Yeah, I'll try to get that pulled.
Yeah.
Speaking of pulled, kind of like Tower 7. They pulled it.
They pulled it.
Do you want to talk about Tower 7?
Let's keep going on some timeline here. Let's live there. I'm just sprinkling some Tower 7 dust.
Conspiracy nuggies.
Some of that anthrax.
some of that anthrax in.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Throughout that day, let me see if I can get the time. So
yeah, we need some timelines of how all this worked.
Okay, so I do got the timeline pulled up from the 9/11 Memorial Museum website. They've got a minute by minute, not minute by minute, but just the major events that happened. Did you know, this is something I didn't know until right before we started, 6 a.m. New York City polling stations opened for the mayoral primary and some other city stuff for the Democrat Party.
Did not know that.
So that day was Democrat elections going on in the city.
Who won?
Don't know.
Probably Rudy Giuliani.
Giuliani.
Yeah, because he was the guy there at the time.
Oh yeah.
He's not a Democrat, but he was.
Yeah.
I thought that was a weird little tidbit that they put on here.
America's mayor. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. So
from America's mayor to Biden laptop holder.
Yeah. So 8 o'clock in the morning, the flights take off. That the first one that gets hijacked, and of course, other ones get hijacked throughout the day. 8:30 in the morning, trade centers open up. Flight 93 takes off at 8:42, and at 8:46, first tower was hit.
Mm-hmm.
8:46, everybody goes to help out. 4 minutes later, the president's alerted on the famous video of him, dude sneaking in, whispering in his ear. No. That was the second one that was hit when that video happened.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe that was the
he
second.
Was told off camera.
That was one of those where it was like, hey, no, it is an attack.
Yeah. And then
because everybody thought and that this was an accident at this point. Nobody had the understanding. Supposedly, even the president didn't know that this was on purpose.
Yeah. And 9:03, the second one was hit, and that one was on all the videos. Like everybody was
watching the smoke coming out of the first tower.
Choppers in the air filming it, and that was the vantage point that I seen. Was the chopper was like flying in a circle around it.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
You see the second one hit it, but both buildings were kind of lined up.
Mm-hmm.
So you see it hit, and I remember everybody's initial thought was this a video of the first one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just couldn't put your head around that it was a second hit because it looked like one building.
You didn't think that
and then
would
just
happen.
Seconds later, the chopper kind of rolls around and you see both buildings and they're both on fire. And you're like, whoa, I just seen thousands of people die.
Yeah.
Which is rough to relive.
Well, at that point, it wasn't thousands of people had died. It was the people inside of the plane and the people that were on the affected floors, I guess.
I've been close to, yeah. It's a big plane, so
how many
hundreds.
was there at a time, or that on that day that it passed away? It was like 2,500, 3,000, somewhere in that.
I feel ashamed that we didn't look that up.
I will look it up.
Yeah, look that up. I'd like to know how many people was on the plane and estimated to be on those floors. Because I'd imagine they would have passed instantly.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it would have been real
there
quick.
would have been 2,996 people died in September 11th.
Yeah.
19 of those were hijackers.
19 people? That gum.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah. It's hard getting 3 people to do something.
Yeah. And
But when they're doing it for a religious cause,
yeah,
that's where this kind of came from a little bit.
You would think at least one
all-
person would back out.
We were
Yeah.
we were infidel. Well, there may have been 20. We don't
there,
know.
may have been 20.
There may have been 20.
yeah. 30 minutes later, 9:37, the Pentagon was hit. That's what's weird to me. I don't remember that being
I don't remember that being an instant like the
news.
same way that it was with the
Well,
towers.
maybe they,
Yeah.
Probably because everybody was paying attention to the towers,
Yeah.
but wasn't like this boom. No pun intended.
Do you think it
but
was do you think it was intended to keep it off the news for a little bit, or do you think they wanted to?
I think that it was announced.
They mentioned it. I
I
just,
just don't
remember.
remember. It
Gotcha.
didn't
It's not a
affect me.
core memory. Like
Yeah.
the
It didn't affect me the same way. And 93 was later, significantly later, wasn't it?
So the first tower collapsed at 10 o'clock. The South Tower did, which was the second one that was hit because it was hit lower.
Mm-hmm.
So the second building fell first.
Yep.
Um,
It was hit lower, more
Yep.
weight,
uh,
stress on that is the
10:03. So 4 minutes later was when Flight 93 hit the ground.
okay. I was thinking that was around noonish in my head.
'Cause
I
Flight
thought
90
that it was later in the
Flight
day.
93 had a longer path to its destination, right?
It was supposedly going towards the White House or
Yeah.
the Capitol. That's
Yeah,
where
it
they
was-
were.
I think it was
saying.
in Michigan when it got hijacked and turned around.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the narrative, the story, what may or may not have really happened. The passengers took over the plane, took back over the plane, but then in the fight, like it crashed into the ground.
Yeah.
Let's see, 10:28, the North Tower fell. So both towers fell by 10:20 or by around 10:30, and
There were 4 hijackers on 93.
Yep.
4
yeah.
there.
What would you do in that situation? Would you? I mean, I would like to think I would try to take the plane back, but I mean, I would need some
You're
help.
dead either way.
Yeah,
So, I
Yeah.
mean, you might as well.
try to go for
At
it.
least in my brain,
Yeah.
you're dead either way. You might as well just
Give it a shot.
give it a shot, you know?
Because what were they armed with? Like box cutters?
I think
Yeah.
it was a box cutter.
Yeah. They
A
snuck-
single box cutter?
So I heard something the other day, and this is completely irrelevant. But somebody was talking about the reason you can't have your Messenger app open on your phone during takeoff. Like you can't
Just Messenger?
Messenger phone, phone calls and all that.
Uh-huh.
And it has to be in airplane mode is because it's how they were communicating with one another was via text and phone calls
Interesting.
is why you have to keep your
Always
phone in
wondered.
airplane mode.
But you can buy Wi-Fi on the plane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can buy Wi-Fi, but I'm sure that that's monitored. So
Yeah.
as soon as you say something like,
Just get on
I'm
Discord.
going to do this thing,
Yeah.
then they're going to,
Get on Discord. Be like, all right, kittens, let's do it.
I've got a VPN. Take that.
Yep.
Does anybody really put their phone on airplane mode when you go on a plane?
No.
I didn't know. I felt like the last time I flew, I felt like a
So
rebel,
the-
and I
Yeah,
didn't.
you're like,
And I was like, oh, I hope I don't bring the plane down,
You're
but I'm not turning it off.
you're a
They
terrorist,
always
Joey.
said, so do you remember back in the day when you were about to get a text message and your phone was next to a speaker and it would go, it would do that thing.
Yeah.
The reason they told me growing up, the reason you had to have it on airplane mode is because it was going to interfere with the pilot's thing. And he was just going to hear nothing but the whole time.
Do you think that was BS?
I think that's bullcrap.
Yeah,
I don't think
Yeah.
that's real at all.
They're on the same wavelength. There's no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, surely they're
Because if that's the case,
not on the same signal.
everybody's phone would just like give them a mental breakdown.
Yeah. Well, there was a time when anytime you received a text message, I remember I played guitar, so I would set my phone on my amp.
Yeah.
I'd always knew before I got a text message because
Yeah.
it would go.
Imagine what those signals did to your head.
Oh, dude, they're
What
fine.
they're still
I wouldn't
in your
even-
head.
Yeah, but they're still doing to
Don't worry
your
about that.
head.
That's not even a concern.
5:20, Tower 7 collapses,
Right.
which was not hit by a plane.
Well, the fire. That's-
Yeah.
The fires.
You give fire fuel, it just gets hotter, you know.
So fire jumped from one building to another,
Sure.
but not the
concrete.
rest, but not all the other buildings
You know how
around it.
flammable concrete is. So when concrete fell, it caught everything on fire via the concrete.
Yeah.
And then what was really, and it makes complete and total sense, is how it fell into itself with no look of a controlled demolition at all.
Yeah.
It didn't even look like it.
So we'll show that video in the show right now.
Yeah. It right here. Watch this.
We're playing it.
And yeah, controlled demolition.
But it was
Looks similar. I may throw a controlled demolition video in there too.
I've never seen that video.
What?
Never seen that video until right before the
Did
show.
they show it on the news?
I was
when it
watching
happened?
No.
No, I was watching a Toby Keith video probably with him. Is how I saw that.
Yeah.
But I saw it for the first time ever right before we recorded.
Really?
That's crazy.
I said, do they have video of it? And you pulled it up.
I was like, yeah, of course they have video.
Did they say anything about them demolishing it because of the structural integrity? Did anybody come out and say they did it because of that?
The guy that, and this is one of the conspiracies, the guy that owned the World Trade Centers, Silverstein, I believe was his name, Larry Silverstein. Somebody could check me on that. But he had taken out an insurance policy literally like the month before. And this insurance policy is part of the contract.
Silverstein Properties. Good job.
Yeah, there you go. It's all up here. Anyway, he had just re-upped his insurance policy, and part of the insurance policy was for terror attacks. Because of the terror attack that had happened in 93, where they put the bomb in there, it exploded.
It did like no damage.
No,
it did like zero damage, which is interesting as well because somebody else
was it
did
just
a bomb
was it
like
just
that.
a test? Was it just to see how far they could get? I don't know.
They had to do some structural stuff with it, I'm sure, after that. Anyway, so he had taken out an insurance policy on this, which it was literally like 2 months before the terror attacks happened. Could be a coincidence. It's a little odd. But he told the firefighters that were in Tower 7 to pull it.
I did hear that.
So what's weird about that is in demolition, the words they use when they want a building to come down is pull it.
Yeah.
Months later, he come back and said, I didn't mean pull the building. I meant pull the firefighters out. But firefighters are not it.
No.
That's, I mean,
unless you're like just sick in the head and you don't think of people as things or as people.
Nah, I don't think that's
the only out I'm giving them.
Yeah, that's not even a good out. That's a bad out.
That's a bad out.
I mean, the devil's advocate here.
His words were pull it, which for his reasoning makes no sense at all. He said that there was already enough life lost. Just let the fires burn and whatever happens, happens. I don't believe that for a second. That makes no sense to me at all. The way this building collapsed, if you watch it, which you will, if you're watching this show, you're going to go, oh, that doesn't make sense at all.
No.
Yeah. Unless somebody can pull a piece of paperwork out of the butt that said, yeah, we had a team go in there and put bombs in to bring it down. It's like,
yeah, you're not going to convince me that there was not something else afoot, at least with that one.
Yeah.
There's financial stuff in that too, which could play into Donald Rumsfeld a little bit in his conversation with that. I mean, there was financial stuff. Secret Service was in there, FBI, CIA, all those things were involved there.
Just to tie in this other thing, which we need to do another episode about, is have you heard of the Bojinka plot?
Bojinka plot.
It's basically this 9/11, but 10 times larger. That was found out and stopped before it happened.
What?
Yeah.
Why am I just now hearing about that? Bojinka? That sounds fake.
It's 100%.
What is Bojinka?
Sounds like an elderly game, but I don't know.
It sounds like something you play with your grandma.
When you're retired.
Play that with Grams.
You finding it, Joey?
Yeah, they plan to assassinate Pope John Paul II, blow up 11 airliners from Asia to the U.S. with the goal of killing at least 4,000 people.
And this was in, what was it, 95? 95.
January 95.
Ugh.
Interesting.
Ugh.
So, I mean,
who's behind this?
I have no idea. Could be anybody.
Osama bin Laden.
Could be any of the owls.
It was Osama. Everybody knows it was Osama bin Laden.
So it was planned.
That's where
it was planned by boy, I don't do good with these names. Ramzi Yusuf and Khalid Man, I'm really testing myself.
Abdul-Jabbar.
Khalid Shaki Mohammed.
Oh,
Basketball players.
it was basketball players, wasn't it? Kareem
Yeah.
Abdul-Jabbar.
Tied to Al Qaeda.
No way, Al-Qaeda, the big scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it was a failure, only one person
Don't
died.
get me wrong.
Only one person died.
Let me back
That's
up.
the guy who did it.
Al-Qaeda's not good. I don't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
come across as being like, oh, Al-Qaeda's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. Al-Qaeda is equally as bad.
Yeah, but the
But-
problem is we made them.
Yeah, the problem is
did.
we gave money
Yeah.
to them to run the Soviets out.
Yeah,
And then they said, it's ours now.
yeah.
Yes, and could be relationships involved.
So grand scheme of things, that's where I lie in the conspiracy world. Like,
Yeah.
I don't believe. So I don't believe a freaking hologram.
Yeah.
Covered a missile, and that's what really hit the building.
Yeah, so there are some really out there conspiracies about this thing.
Stupid dumb.
Yeah.
But
And we are not those people.
no.
Yeah, we're not the Jewish space laser people.
We are
Yeah.
we are definitely saying that something weird probably happened here.
Yeah.
But we're not going full on.
Kook.
I'm not saying that lizard people from outer space came down,
Crawled up the beams and ate them.
ate them to where it all just fell apart. Like, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
They had acid in their spit and
Yeah.
just ate it.
Yeah.
and it
I mean,
made it
that
all
sounds legit.
crumbled. It does. It sounds more legit than holograms.
Yeah.
So
But
Have you seen the Tupac concert when he's a
I
hologram?
did. That was pretty. It was pretty weird.
Yeah.
I do believe that America or American government, if not all of it, some of it,
I think they were
CIA.
aware.
Yeah, I think they were aware and a lot.
Like,
of
how
it
would you
happened.
not be with a plan that big?
Yeah,
Especially when you have your fingers in so many things already.
right.
It's like, how do you not get a whiff of that?
yeah,
And then ignore it.
yeah.
Well, and there is
They probably-
there are talk show hosts, numerous talk show hosts, Alex Jones being one of them, which y'all can take that for what you will, talking about this was going to happen
Like months before, I think.
months before it.
Yeah.
Bill Cooper was another one.
Yeah.
And how do they know? Just because of past history? Like, how does
They
that
just,
work?
they're onto something, I guess, that the government's not. I don't know how they would know.
Yeah. That's weird. It's
Anyway.
like they would know if Bin Laden's taking a crap. Like,
Yeah.
they would know.
I'm pretty sure they did. But you know who didn't know?
Who's that?
ShroudedRealities.com. We had no idea at that point.
Was it
No.
even a thing?
We weren't.
Was it even a glimmer in our eye at that time?
I was just a turd in a diper at that point.
That's right.
Turd in a diaper.
Mm.
ShroudedRealities.com. Go check it out. We've got a new merch store. Not the
the
store's
same
not new.
store.
Same
Same
store.
store.
Same
Just
place.
it's got more stuff in it.
Yeah.
It
You know,
does.
could you imagine going into a store and there only be one thing on the shelf? How gay would that be?
It'd be real
That'd be
gay.
communist right
GAI,
there.
you
Yeah,
know?
but now we got real things. We got choices. We got options,
We do. We have things and we have stuff.
which I'm super excited
And they're
about.
all for sale.
They are for sale.
I'm working on another one right now, too. I
We
sent
are.
y'all that last
That's
night.
Sweet.
We're about to up that sticker game, too, I
Sweet.
think.
So,
Skadoosh.
so our boy Aaron, we got to we got
We
to
met
meet him this week.
We met him the other
Did
day.
we did tell you about that?
No.
We met him on a live stream.
Yeah, we did.
He was we was on the Let's Get to the Bottom of
Uh-huh.
that live stream on Wednesday night at
Golly, wish
7:30.
you guys told. I guess I would have been doing dishes. So I
You
wouldn't
probably
have
would've been
known.
Yeah, we didn't invite you on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
the
fair.
Aaron who gave us the t-shirt idea for Sorry Mom,
He did.
he was on the show, so we got to meet him. Super cool dude. Like,
Yeah. Really
yeah.
cool guy. It was cool to actually meet a fan, I
Yeah.
guess.
because he'd been commenting on our stuff.
I'm not going to say you're a fan, Aaron. If you want to be a fan, you can tell me you're a fan. You don't have to own that. It's
Yeah.
I think
okay.
you have to have like a certain level of fame to be a fan.
Dude.
For someone to be a fan.
Yeah, that
Dude.
level of separation.
He's just part of the community. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way.
There you go.
He's
That's
He's
the
a
way to
shrouded
put it.
realities
He's a
community.
shroud head.
That's a good way to
He's
put
a
it.
shroud head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
so-
shroud head.
No, he's not a shroud head. He's a dude.
I think a shroud head kind of sounds like a
He's
terrorist.
How dare you,
head.
Joey?
He said it. You said head. He said it. I don't
How
want to be.
dare you? You don't know
Don't
what
discriminate.
he is.
Aaron's cool. He's not. I'm gonna assume.
Aaron, I've thrown you down the road twice, and I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, just throwing you in the river.
Anyway.
Skadoosh.
Just making
Skadoosh.
jokes. Skadoosh. That's the next T-shirt idea.
That's a sticker.
I do gotta
that's,
get- I
that's
do-
sticker world
Sticker.
there, man.
Okay, I do gotta give you props though. Steven's a great artist.
Yeah,
He
and he does this for free.
Yeah, just for fun.
For now.
Just for his doodles. We're putting his
went
I'm
for
doodles.
the-
doodling. It's not great. It's computers are
I
fantastic.
like
so
the
know
raw
that.
stuff. I like the raw stuff.
That's what she said.
Say that.
But
Sorry, Mom.
There
Which
it
is a T-shirt.
hey,
Look at that.
And you can get it on ShroudedRealities.com.
Put it on the screen.
ShroudedRealities.com.
Do all the
Yeah.
designs.
right here.
Boom.
I'm not going to do it on your Steven. You always go nuts with your hands. I'm going to do shroudedrealities.com t-shirt. Sorry, Mom, right here.
Yep.
This is the one.
Yep. All sales go to our wallets.
Yeah. All sales. It's really to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're spending money to make money. Hopefully,
Yeah.
that's kind of where we're at.
The coffee I bring in every day makes me net negative.
Yeah, we're in the hole.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we lost a lot of money on the first run of t-shirts.
Oh, dang,
And now we need a new light because I just broke it.
Look,
Dadgummit.
yeah, he's breaking our stuff. We can't maintain.
Yep.
So
See,
please,
So if you support the show, you can get us out of this amateur world that we live in right now.
Yep.
yeah,
And we could take a next step into
Intermediate world.
intermediate professionalism world.
yeah, no, professionalism will never be. Nobody's gonna look at us and be like, those dudes are pros at
we'd
this.
have to take the blue pill to be that.
Yeah.
You know. And if you don't want to
Which
spend
blue
money
pill
for
are
a
you
shirt,
talking about?
you can get for free shipping stickers.
Yeah.
We got stickers.
Yep.
Make it a package
Get my
set.
stickers.
Put them on your mom. Put them on your dog. Put them
on your mom.
I don't know, no.
So we missed the boat on this, like we normally do. We should have done Sorry Mom stickers for Mother's Day.
Oh
Yeah. I told my mom that we got a Sorry Mom shirt up. She was like, "Oh, cool, just in time for Mother's Day." And I was like, "Sorry,
It's not.
It's still going to be in the mail getting to us." So I
Yeah,
can't.
as of the day we're recording this, we don't have the prints for everything yet.
No.
They will be here very soon. Definitely get your pre-orders in though. They're up on the website.
Yep.
They already exist by the time this episode comes out. So, but yeah, jump on, see what we got. Go to our Patreon too.
Yes.
We've got a free option for all the people that want to just talk. We got a chat room in there. Say something to us. Reach out.
I did put a free episode up.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, the JFK part 3 episode
That's
is
a good one to
free
be
on
free.
Patreon. So if
Yeah.
you're listening to this episode, you want to check out Patreon, you can go
The
back.
best part is it's already free. You can listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah,
Yep.
but if
'Cause
you
it's already
wanted
out.
if you wanted to see how Patreon works,
Yeah, for sure.
make sure it's a good fit
Yeah.
for you.
We don't
Free
want
episode.
everybody to be
Why
on
do you
the
always
free
run us down? You always like.
because everybody already knows that they can just get on
I
Spotify and
know.
watch it if they're watching us regularly.
That's not the game, though.
No, it is.
Anyway.
No, you gotta be truthful with your audience.
We
You
are,
can't-
and we
yeah.
are truthful.
Yeah,
That's what this show's about: is seeking out the truth.
that's right.
That's why we're talking about 9/11.
I know, and
And
you
what's
kind of
true?
have to say that with a frown on your face
Yeah.
because it's like, man, this is a tough topic.
This has been tough on my mental health this week.
It has mine too.
Does it just take you back?
It takes me back. I don't want to believe that the American government had anything to do with this. I want to believe that a bad guy came in and
So let's play.
just jacked our world up.
So let's play a little game. It's like, what right now, if you were to just accept the official narrative, what would change in your life?
If I accepted the official narrative, that's easy because I did it for 20-something years.
Right.
Yeah,
Like nothing would change. It would
So
just
what
be-
if you
we were-
actively try to ignore all of the weird inconsistencies,
all the conspiracies?
and then the vice versa, dive into it? Which path would lead you?
Diving into it hurts your mental health more
Yeah,
because
It does.
because it breaks your
trust, your reality.
Yep, your trust goes down. Your ability to believe anything you see.
Because like, what's the chance that someone around you?
do you believe anything you see today?
No, but it's because we went down this rabbit hole a long time ago.
Yeah, but do you feel like you are? I don't want to say woke because I hate that
So,
more than anything, but more awake to some of these things though.
Yeah. So a good example, Russell Brand just went Christian about a year ago.
Yeah.
We got baptized. He's pretty bombastic anyway. It's just his
He is.
personality. I never really was like a huge fan of him, but I found him entertaining.
His comedy was never like great to me.
Yeah.
His
It was
stand-up
it was
was okay.
entertaining.
He's just a British fella.
Yeah, had
Yeah.
a funny accent. He talked funny.
Funny
Yeah.
accent.
Have a bigger mouth.
His thoughts were weird, which was just fun. You know, I wasn't a fan, but I liked his stuff.
He
Yeah.
had some conspiracy stuff.
So when he went
in.
Christian, I got interested in him. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, let's check this guy out. See if he's for real. See if this is like the Kanye West thing.
the
where-
Conway Twitty one.
Yeah, Conway.
Yeah.
When Conway.
Ladies and gentlemen, Conway Twitty. Kanye West. You remember he went Christian and he was
Yeah.
big in it for a
Hey,
while.
that album
now-
he dropped. That
yeah.
album he dropped is actually pretty good.
It's
I
not
don't know
bad.
why.
It's
I kind
good.
of dug it.
Which
Yeah.
one? The recent one?
No, the Christian one.
Oh,
Yeah.
The Christian
I was
one.
gonna say the recent one.
Didn't have a Chick-fil-A song on it.
Yeah, you my Chick-fil-A.
My Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, look into his
that
new
was-
stuff now.
Yeah, it's not the same.
That's
he
what I'm
had,
saying.
he had a girlfriend butt naked
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
naked.
Yeah, when you're making albums about Hitler, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So I was afraid that Russell Brand was going to be this.
This one's eating you up, bro.
It is.
Yeah.
Russell
It is.
Crowe.
It's early in the morning. It's
Gladiator?
early in the morning. I hadn't had my coffee yet.
You don't drink coffee.
So so I just want to make sure Russell Brand didn't end up that way. You know what I mean? I was kind of watching with a Christian eye, like, hey, is this guy legit or is this just for views?
Sure.
To me, at this point, feels like it's legit. Like
I think
he's
I think
repented of
he's
his ways.
fully embraced it. Yeah.
So a show popped up on Hulu. It was Russell Brand show, like talking about his transition and stuff. I was like, oh, this would be an interesting take. Dude, man, this was a complete and total hit piece.
Oh yeah,
Hard.
You mean the media
Yeah.
would try to do something saying how horrible a Christian is?
Yes.
No.
So back to our original point before we went down 15 rabbit holes.
Conway Twitty.
Conway Twitty.
I'm sorry. Russell Brand. And
where was I going with this?
you were talking about Russell Brand and how he was
The original question was, since you start seeing things for what they really are, is that better or worse?
Yes.
There
you go.
Yeah. So I could see that this was a hit piece. I could also see if somebody didn't know that this was a hit piece and not have this distrust for the mainstream media, they would have just eat that up and be like, yeah, Russell Crowe's a fake. He's a crone. You know what I mean?
Oh, Russell Crowe.
Russell Brand. I'm going to quit talking. I watched the Russell Crowe movie last week too.
Did
so he's in my
there
head.
you go.
Anyway.
A man named Russell. So I know where you're going with this. I'll pick up from here.
Thank you. Take it and run.
Yep.
Do you think that that's a bad thing that now you're aware that this is not a hit piece or that this was a hit piece?
I feel like it's better for me knowing that I can pick stuff like that out.
Do you not think that
But
educating
it
other
freaking
people
makes me crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, but educating others and just having some foresight of what the other side, whatever you want to call that,
Yeah.
is gonna do, I think that that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I
But
think that
it's also the red pill, blue pill dilemma. You got the red pill where you see the world for what it is and you can call out the BS like that. You can see it pretty much instantly. And you can be a hologram just walking through the street living your life like normal. Or you can be Keanu Reeves after he took the pill and he's fighting for his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's where we're at.
Do you think we're called to just be the hologram though?
No, we're not.
Exactly.
We're not.
I don't think we're called to be the hologram.
Yep. What's our tagline? over?
Ephesians 5:11.
Ephesians 5:11. We're called to
Expose it. And I'm not saying that that's what we're doing in this conversation right now. I'm not firm enough on any of my opinions yet. And I don't know that I ever will be because
my agenda with stuff like this though is for listeners and everyone
to think
for yourself no matter what.
Yes.
Even if it's against a conspiracy.
Yeah.
So like the hologram thing, that's freaking stupid. You sent me a video, sent me a podcast and said, dude, this is a good podcast. He's kooky at the beginning, but he's got good stuff at the end. Power through it.
Yeah.
And I did. But I had to cut it off 20 minutes in because he's talking about holograms. The whole thing was a hologram projection that was produced by Steven Spielberg. And the number 11 being tied to everything all the way back to Ancient Wars. Like, it was just like, how can you listen to a word that this guy is saying and believe anything he's saying and even trust his perspective if that's what he's starting with?
My goal was not to believe every word he said.
Yeah.
My goal was to see what does this side believe.
Sift through the
and
BS
why.
and get to the truth.
Yes. My entire goal with that is let's sift through this. Is there things that we can take away from it that could be legitimate?
You gotta get through the mud to get the gold, man.
But I mean, sometimes you're going to run into a guy that thinks the number 11, if you divide it by 6, is going to equal the devil. I mean, that's where some people go.
Yeah.
And that's nuts. I agree. Numerology and this whole thing that people have is nuts.
So
but he had other things in there that make complete and total sense. And I was like, let's sift through this and see if there's anything that we can take away that makes sense. Yeah. And let's also make fun of the fact that he thinks the number 11 is significant. I mean, we can do that.
And that millions of people around the world can be fooled by a hologram in 2001.
Yeah.
holograms in 2025
the
suck.
argument? The argument.
Yeah,
Why-
it's
why do we-
government
how do you think-
technology, Joey.
The government has better technology.
It was a
than you know.
paper mache missile.
It was. They just lit it on fire.
So you do have to you do have to think for yourself.
Yeah, and we don't wanna
back
become
to your
those
original
guys.
question. I feel like it is better to have the mindset of questioning everything, everything, and making up your own mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've met the people where, like, if there's any sniff of a conspiracy theory, it's an immediate pushback. Or, like,
Yeah.
it's like they're going to get arrested if they
Yeah.
think differently.
That's the opposite side of this too.
Yeah.
Is there's the guy that thinks the number 11 is significant, but then there's also the guy that the narrative is it. Period.
Yeah.
There's
What the media told me is exactly what
It
happened,
can't
no
be
matter
anything
what.
else.
And we ran into that this week.
did.
A buddy of ours, he was a military member. I'm not going to use his name, but he don't listen to the show anyway because he doesn't like podcasts. But
He doesn't like. He's
He's
like,
going to listen to this one.
Yeah, one of our best friends.
He may actually do that.
Yeah.
He's like, how can y'all sit and listen to people talk this whole time?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's the information. That's
but,
all it is.
But I asked him. He was one of the soldiers that went overseas,
Sure.
post 9/11, and the whole thing. So I said, hey, what are your thoughts on conspiracy stuff? And he was like, with 9/11, he's like, no, there's no way the American government can kill,
it's on people.
thousands of people, its own people at that amount of at
However,
that pace.
I will say that I brought up Operation Northwood.
That's what I was about to say. I said, what if I told you that there's a document from the 60s with the exact same script, not the exact, but pretty close to the same script that what happened on 9/11,
Their willingness
that
to use terror
that they were
against their
willing
people.
to use terror and death against their own people to justify a war. I said,
Yeah.
what if I told you that was a real thing and it went through the entire military hierarchy and JFK stopped it? What if I told you that?
Mhm.
And he's just like, you see them wheels just stop.
You could see it. I mean, it
Yeah.
was, and it, without that background, it is hard to accept anything else.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's why I said Operation Northwood has shifted my brain completely
Yeah.
in the history of knowing that we're willing to
Which
do
is understandable,
a
too.
certain
Yeah.
limit.
On that end, because, like, if you can't even trust the reason why you're fighting, it's like, why even fighting? Like, what do you fight for now?
Yeah.
Right.
What's your reason? What's your purpose?
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you can't even believe the reason you're doing things.
Yeah.
And that would suck to think that, okay, we went over there because of some other reason
Yeah.
than what
Yeah.
we were told.
And
that
what
would
did-
be tough to deal with.
And here's my question here. It's like, why? I mean, I understand the official reasoning of, like, going after the terrorist organization that committed the attack, but it's like, if it was a setup and we just did it just to get into Afghanistan, what does Afghanistan have that we want? We have oil. We have
And oil is not a big thing with them. They're
Yeah.
not like the biggest oil supplier.
Their biggest thing I think was poppy.
yeah.
You
And
know?
what does that do for us?
Yeah, we can get it
Pharma.
anywhere.
That's a whole episode itself.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
is, yeah.
it could be pharmaceutical, but
But then we'd make synthetic stuff.
Yeah.
could it also be, and because this was not a war on Afghanistan at this point.
Yeah.
What was it called? The War on
GWOT.
Terror.
Yeah.
It was
It's
called the War
worldwide.
on Terror, which then
Worldwide.
turns into you're not just singling out one group that you're going to go attack. That's why we had a 20-year war in this situation, is because
They kept morphing.
anything
Yeah.
could be terror at that point. It wasn't a defined war
Yeah.
down to a small scale. This was defined in
If
broad.
you're an enemy of America, you're dead.
Yeah. And then that brings in that one world government that George H.W. said we were bringing in. That's where that comes in to me, is like, okay, no, we're going to go spread our interest to all these places.
Yeah.
We're everybody's going to be aligned with what we want them to be aligned with.
Yeah. So I've got personal experience with that. I did go to, I was a contractor in Afghanistan, did it for 13 months. So I seen it. The amount of waste and money that was spent. And this is where it wasn't going after oil or poppy or gems or whatever's in Afghanistan that people think we were there to get.
Mhm.
The amount of money that rolls through the military industrial complex and the amount of people that get rich off of just being there,
Not even actively campaigning.
not even actively fighting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a personal experience. So on my way home, I was flying back. When I was flying as a contractor, I flew with military people. Like you just mixed in with them. I ran into a higher ranking. I can't remember if he's Army or Air Force, but he was a higher ranked guy, and we're sitting there at the flight line waiting on our flight. Got hours to spend. We're just BSing, and this guy was super disenfranchised. He was pissed. Okay, so he starts telling me things that I'm like, you probably shouldn't be telling me these things, bro.
Right.
Like, somebody's in here going to kill me.
Yeah, and I could see there was another branch of military sitting next to us, and you can tell his disgust of this guy having this conversation with me.
Talking about
just
it.
Talking about it.
You're like, I'm about to walk away because this is not where I need to be.
Exactly. It was that feeling. But this guy was just so pissed, he just had to get it out, and I was willing to listen.
Yeah.
He was telling me that the rules of engagement at the time, this was under the Obama administration, the rules of engagement at the time was they could not fire on an enemy unless they had approval. And to get approval, you had to actually see the person fire the weapon. And so he used the example of a mortar shell. So that was kind of a common attack on bases, military bases in Afghanistan, was you'd be on the base and mortar shell just get lobbed in, boom, they try to blow something up. They said that he had his guys watch a guy setting up a mortar round. He'd call it in. They say, well, he ain't fired it yet. He ain't done nothing wrong. They'd see him, bloop, load the mortar shell. Fire it in. He calls it in. They finally shot at me. Okay. He calls it in. They finally shot at us. Okay, now you can engage. Well, guess what? By the time all that crap happened,
you've got a mortar coming towards you.
No, mortar's already hit. Yeah. Old boy done disassembled his stuff, and he done took off.
Run off.
So he's like, dude, we're literally getting shot at and killed because of the rules of engagement. We can't do anything. So like you said, we wasn't even fighting these guys. We were just there.
Yeah.
And just the fact of us being there, the amount of money that rolled through that place and the amount of money that people was making, myself included, I got paid a stupid amount of money to be there to do a very stupid job.
Right.
I won't go into all that. I don't want to get too much trouble, but
yeah,
there's a lot. There was financial incentive for us to be there.
Well, and
it's more about just funneling American taxpayer dollars to big corporations like DynCorp, Halliburton, Oshkosh, all these big giant companies that are funding military stuff.
Halliburton's a big name in this too, and who was tied to Halliburton?
VP at the time?
Cheney.
Yep.
Cheney, baby.
Yeah. So you talk about
the
motive.
Penguin himself. That
Talk
dude looks
about
like the
motive.
Penguin from Batman.
He does.
Yeah.
But so you talk about motive and reasons why we're there and why even go to Afghanistan to begin with when Osama was supposedly in Pakistan, which is next door. Why not go into Pakistan? But
well, they couldn't find him.
The reason being it was an easy place for us to be at war, for us to ship a ton of military equipment, a ton of people.
And have like a little bit, like not as huge of a resistance because it's not a really developed nation.
Yeah.
Well, and if you remember, this blossomed quickly to Saddam Hussein in Iraq.
Yeah. What was the timeline with that? So that was, Iraq was before.
Yeah, that was
Iraq
before.
was before our invasion.
It was after
of Afghanistan.
Kuwait.
No, wasn't before. Afghanistan was first.
So we was in Afghanistan and Iraq at the same time at one point?
Mm-hmm. We were.
Okay.
Wasn't the Gulf War Saddam Hussein?
So I bet the military-industrial complex love that. Yeah, the Gulf War was pre-9/11.
Right,
I remember that was.
But Saddam was
03.
03.
And that was when we had weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, that turned out to be fake.
That turned out to be there was no weapons of mass destruction. That was just a good way to get Saddam Hussein, who was not sympathetic to our cause, out.
Yeah.
So, we've done that before, too. We've tried that a few times.
A lot.
Mm-hmm. It always works out. So I don't know why we worry about it.
So that's pretty much it. Let's stop here. Next week we'll pick up. We're trying to get a guest scheduled that is he's a 9/11 conspiracy theorist.
He's the guy
to the T.
Yeah,
done research papers on it. He knows a lot more.
If he says hologram the first 30 seconds, I'm out.
Yeah, if he says 30, if he does that, we're just gonna poke holes in. All of that
and I do plan to do that. I do want to poke holes in all the conspiracies, the the jet fuel melting steel beams.
Because it feels like the more conspiratorial that it gets, the further you get away from the real thing happening, and the more you can disassociate of the people who actually died.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel real. So it's like you have to make sure it still feels real.
Yeah.
So you can take into consideration.
Well, and I think that's what we wanted to do with this episode a little bit too, is like pay credence to like people truly did die, regardless of who did it, regardless of who was involved. All of those things, people are truly dead from this, and it was a traumatic experience for an entire nation.
Yeah.
This isn't something that we're trying to poke holes in and be like, see, this was all fake.
Mm-hmm.
We're not those guys. We're never going to be those guys.
Yeah.
So don't think that at all.
No.
So,
but there are conspiracies that brought up that do bring up that make you question what happened, how it happened. My opinion is a lot of these conspiracies are just dirty up the waters. You know what I mean? There is a narrative. There is something that really happened. There is a level of complicitness
that exists
from the U.S. government.
Yeah.
And I feel like the stories like the holograms and
it's just to put you in that kooky group.
It all puts you, it puts you in that wild, that mindset.
Don't trust this person. He's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, the CIA definitely said that conspiracy theorist. They started it. So they could have also been the ones that said, hey, it was a hologram.
Yeah. They started it. We're going to end it.
Yeah. We're going to make it to where these people are super kooky. So say it was a hologram that did it.
Is Alex Jones a plant? Is he an operative?
Maybe. I don't know. I can confirm nor deny that. I don't know.
Question it.
It looks like it now.
I question it.
He looks like a plant just in general. This dude's swole.
Yeah.
He's taking his own
He's been taking him testosterone pills, man.
Bald, baby.
Oh, it's a hard one, but it's got to be talked about.
It's got to be.
Yep.
You got to think about it. You got to come to your own conclusion.
We knew it from the get-go that we had to go there.
Yep.
But oof.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. So we'll pick it back up next week. Part 2, maybe part 3. We'll see.
Yep.
Could be.
See how it goes. But for Connor, Steven, Joey, and Ruby the podcast dog, thanks for listening.
See ya.